They didn't ignore me because I was weak. They ignored me because weakness made them uncomfortable. I was the mirror they didn't want to look at. The reminder that the system could fail you, that talent wasn't guaranteed. And I learned something in that silence that no training ever taught me. The world doesn't owe you attention. It doesn't owe you a chance. It doesn't owe you anything. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you stop being a victim of it. I used to think, if I just tried hard enough, someone would notice. If I just showed up one more time, someone would reach out a hand. I waited. I waited longer than I should have, and nobody came. Not my guild, not my teammates, not the system, nobody. And standing in that dungeon, surrounded by bodies, realizing I was completely alone, I didn't break. I made a decision. If nobody is coming for me, then I am going for myself. That was the moment everything changed. Not when I got stronger, when I stopped waiting to. It is not someone who hates people. It is not someone with an attitude. It is not someone who gave up on the world. It is someone who stopped needing the world's permission to keep moving. I trained when no one was watching. I leveled up when no one was counting. I pushed past limits that no one even knew I had. Not for recognition, not for applause, because every morning I woke up, weak was an insult I refused to accept. They talk about discipline, like it is a habit, like it is something you build after a good night's sleep with the right music playing. That is not discipline. That is comfort wearing discipline's clothes. Real discipline is doing the work when your body is broken, when your mind is screaming stop, when the results aren't coming, and the doubt is louder than everything else. I didn't train because I was motivated. I trained because I was terrified of what I'd become if I stopped. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. People see me now and they talk about power. They talk about the shadow army. They talk about the fear in people's eyes when I walk into a room. They want the result. They don't ask about the nights I sat alone with nothing but pain and a mission window, asking me to do it all over again. They don't ask about the dungeons I entered not knowing if I'd come back. They don't ask about the silence. The silence was the heaviest part. No one cheering, no one watching. Just me in the dark, and the decision to keep going one more time. Always one more time. That is what they don't show you. The glory is loud, the process is silent, and most people can't survive the silence. I want to ask you something right now in your life. What are you building when nobody is watching? What are you doing at midnight when the world is asleep? And nobody will ever know whether you showed up or not, because that answer, that one honest answer, tells you exactly where you'll be in a year from now. Not failure, not loneliness, not the voice that says you are not enough, because that voice gets quieter every time you show up anyway. Every dungeon, every rep, every silent night of becoming, it gets quieter. Until one day, you can't hear it at all. I am not going to tell you it gets easy. It doesn't. The weight doesn't disappear. The fear doesn't vanish. The doubt doesn't pack its bags and leave. What changes is you. You become someone who carries it all and moves anyway. You become someone who looks at the hardest version of the path and chooses it because you know something nobody else does. The harder the path, the fewer people on it. The more it belongs to you. Not power, solitude. The willingness to walk the road that everyone else turned back from. They'll notice you eventually, not because you announced yourself. Not because you asked them to. Because you became impossible to ignore. Because power doesn't need an introduction. It walks into the room and the room already knows. You won't have to say a word. You won't have to explain the journey. You won't have to defend the silence. You'll just stand there, and they'll feel it. Everything you sacrificed. Everything you built. Everything you survived. In the way you carry yourself. In the stillness behind your eyes. In the way you don't react to things that used to destroy you. That is the transformation, not the strength. The stillness. So if you are in the dark right now, if you are grinding and nobody sees it, if you are building and nobody believes it, if you are becoming something the people around you don't have a name for yet, good. Stay there. Stay in the silence. Stay in the work. Stay in the becoming, because the world will catch up to you. It always does. And when it does, because the version of you standing in front of them will be the proof. They'll see it in the way you move, in the way you speak, in the way you no longer flinch at things that once broke you. That is what the darkness built, not just strength. Something unrecognizable, something unreachable, something they never saw coming. Because you didn't rise for them. And now, there is only one thing left to say. Arise. If you are building in silence right now, you already know. Drop arise in the comments. Like this video. Subscribe. This is just the beginning.